Hi, I'm Eric Nelson for CCX News out here at the Blue Wolf Brewing Company in Brooklyn Park. Well, the COVID-19 pandemic has put a huge dent into the profits of local brew houses. And nobody knows that better than Blue Wolf's Mike Campbell. They are suffering financial losses.
We're definitely have less business than we normally do. It's, not the financial situation you want to get yourself into, but you do what you can, and we've had great support from the folks in our community coming out and buying growlers and crawlers as they're allowed to. But we are seeing about 25 to 50% less from at least the folks that I've talked to within the industry. It has been difficult to keep things going, to maintain the business. Unfortunately, it's just my wife and I working now where our staff has been furloughed.
What's production like? What capacity are you at?
To be honest, we shut all production down for almost a month. The beers that were already made stayed in the fermenter. In our case, it's not going to be an issue, but I do know for a lot of breweries, they're getting nervous.
How long can you go at this current pace?
I would prefer not to go any more than another month. I would like to be open by the end of May or the early part of June. Obviously, the sooner the better, but it's going to get more and more serious as this goes on, so definitely would like to see it by June 1st at the latest.
Under normal circumstances, brew houses would be pouring beer and people would be drinking it up. But because of COVID-19, some of them are having to pour their beer down the drain.
As a brewer, and knowing how much work and effort goes into making these beers, it's hard to hear. It's hard to believe that places are having to do it. I understand why they're doing it, obviously, but it is hard because it takes a long time to produce these beers. And just the brew day alone, for me, is about 7 to 8 hours. I think for some of these largers, it's even longer than that. And to put all that effort in and all that time to have to throw it down the drain, it's difficult. You don't want to see things like that happen. And the financial aspect's another portion of it, but there's almost an emotional attachment to a lot of this as well. And like I say, thankfully I don't have to do it. But anytime you have to dump beer, it's a hard decision and something you don't ever have to want to face.
Meanwhile, at the Capitol in St. Paul, political leaders are sympathetic to the cause of craft brewhouse people. One of them is John Hoffman from Champlin and Brooklyn Park. And John, I know you're trying to help fight the battle for these people, aren't you?
You know, thanks, Eric. Yeah, we tried last week to look at some concessions, and some of them would be to even look at some tax incentives. You know, if you're going to have beer that's destroyed, then look at the fact of giving some people some tax incentives. And that's one of the things that we're in discussions about. There's still lots of conversations that need to be happening, and I know with new Executive Order 20.48, perhaps there's some relief that'll come on Monday, but there's more to be seen on that, and we're still at the conversation level, so yes.
But they are in survival mode, and it's time to really prop them up, isn't it?
You know, rumor has it that just based on the data that, 2/3 might not make it through this. That's the notice that I'm seeing. But, they might exist, like Mike Campbell says, about a month left, and then, he's hurting. I know lots of them that are hurting. One of the breweries in Minneapolis had to pour out, on the 21st, a whole bunch of beer that they had. That's why we're saying maybe some tax relief for that destroyed beer would be something that would be maybe helpful.
Hopefully for Mike Campbell and other craft brew house owners, business will reopen soon. In Brooklyn Park, I'm Eric Nelson for CCX News.
Find more local news stories at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.